Welcome into Falcons Today. I am Tom Downey. We're trying to keep the good vibes going here for the Atlanta Falcons. If you want them to win this week, show it by liking the video. The data and the science backs it up. When you like this video, the Falcons are more likely to win, so do it right now. Most of today's video will be a preview as the Falcons hit the road to take on the Washington Commanders in a game with surprisingly massive playoff implications. Both these teams in position to fight for that last wild card spot in the NFC. The Falcons 5-6, Commanders 6-5. A win could flip it, put the Falcons in good position. We'll break that down more in depth, plus some big-time injury news. But first, some sudden Aaron Rodgers rumors have appeared. CBS Sports did a list of the top 11 destinations. The 11 was Denver. That's not going to happen. Destinations for Aaron Rodgers. And as things kind of surprisingly checked out, the Falcons were number 10. Let's break this down, beginning with what CBS and Cody Benjamin wrote. Marcus Mariota barely registers as a short-term starter, let alone a long-term investment. The Falcons are competitive in a wide-open division with tons of 2023 cap space, $57 million. They've proven under Arthur Smith, the successor to current Packers coach Matt LaFleur in Tennessee, they can run the football. That's from an OC perspective. All they need now is a difference maker under center. I think there's more this team needs, defensive impact too, but you add Aaron Rodgers, and the Falcons are a prime contender. I also have some doubts about whether or not Rodgers would want to come to Atlanta, and if the Falcons want to commit the type of immense contractual obligations. It's cheap in 2023. If you pick up $58 million worth of an option in 2023, that gets paid out in 2025. It's a very complicated and expensive contract. It's basically a I retire or I don't retire player option for Rodgers from a payment perspective. It makes things complicated at best from that standpoint. So do you want the Falcons to make a run if he becomes available at Aaron Rodgers? Y for yes, N for no. Please sound off for me in the comments section. Let's focus in now on the injury report for this upcoming Falcons game. Felipe Franks, Caleb Huntley, Arnold Ebiketie, Chuma Edoga, and Jalen Dalton all on that Falcons injury report. The one that really stands out to me, and I think it's the one we would mostly agree with, is Arnold Ebiketie, who was limited on Wednesday. In general, when you are limited on Wednesday, that means you end up playing, and every guy on this list was limited. I feel pretty good about that status. For the Commanders, Chase Young was limited as he finally appears set to make his return to the football field for the Falcons. Taylor Heineke on the injury report with a back, but he was a full participant, so nothing to worry about there. Everyone on this list except for Cole Holcomb, James Smith-Williams, and Benjamin St-Juste were at least limited. So those three names, the linebacker Holcomb, James Smith-Williams, the backup defensive end, and Benjamin St-Juste, those are the ones to monitor. St-Juste could be a big loss, by the way, for the Commanders. So too could Cole Holcomb. Who you guys got in this one? ATL, spam it in the comments section for me. For the Falcons, or WAS for Washington. It's the pinned comment on today's show. So if the ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there, and I would assume go spam ATL. All right, keys to victory for the Falcons. How about the offensive line does a little bit of a repeat performance? The Falcons' ground game has been the single biggest reason why the offense has had success. And it's a big reason why they eked out a 27-24 win over a very competitive Chicago Bears team last week. Chase Young is set to come back, and you do not want a good version of Chase Young tormenting Mariota and the Falcons' passing game or the ground game. So trench play and winning that against a very good front four for the Commanders is going to be a big deal. Now, Chuma Edoga, who we mentioned earlier, did actually get the start at left guard, which is actually worked out really well for the Falcons. The PFF grades for the offensive line in Week 11 only, as up and down as I think in particular left guard and right tackle have been, this is elite play. That's some of the best offensive line grades for a unit that you will see in a single game. Now, the big difference is the Bears' front four is not very good. The Commanders' front four, when they want to go with their four-man pass rush, they run some 3-4, but they could be Chase Allen, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat. All four of those guys are first-round picks. And one of them, Allen's already been paid like a premium player. That is an elite front four when they go with that four-man front with Sweat and Young coming off the edges, Allen and Payne at the 3-tech and 1-technique respectively. That is challenging for any team. It's a much tougher test this week for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, today's Falcons Today is made possible by our good friends and sponsor, Established Titles. It's a fun and novel way to help preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It's a project based in the historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English, and title packs at least 1 square foot of dedicated land with a unique plot number on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland, and an official certificate with a crest. They plant a tree with every order and work with global charities, One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future, to support global reforestation efforts. You can officially include the title Lord or Lady on your credit card, plane ticket, dating profile, etc. Makes a great last-minute gift. And the first 200 people who get a title pack using my link will effectively be next to my pub within a few minutes of walking distance. So depending on how many of you want to become a lord or a lady, we can build our own little Falcons Today kingdom. Makes an amazing last-minute gift. And Established Titles is actually running a massive holiday sale right now with discounts up to 80% off. Plus, if you use code CHAT, C-H-A-T, you get an additional 10% off. Go to establishedtitles.com/chat to get your gifts now and help support the channel. establishedtitles.com/chat. Key to the game number 2. How about you contain dynamic wide receiver Terry McLaurin? This is really A.J. Terrell steps up in a big-time way. McLaurin was not playing well under Carson Wentz. Since Carson Wentz was benched in favor of Taylor Heineke, McLaurin has looked like the very talented and number 1 receiver that he's paid to be. 85 yards per game, not that many touchdowns, but he has been much more productive. And Heineke has led the Commanders to more wins. Now, he does not scare me. He will also not he also doesn't scare the Commanders as much as Carson Wentz did. So he's been a bit more consistent from that standpoint. He offers some mobility. He's a really good backup. He's kind of like the new Ryan Fitzpatrick. But this is a game the Falcons absolutely can and frankly should expect to win. Like I mentioned, it will be a tough test for A.J. Terrell. Look, this is what you get when you're the number 1 cornerback. You got to go up against opposing teams' number 1 receivers and shut them down. If they do that, Falcons come up on top. Now, if you want the latest Falcons news, rumors, and more, then subscribe. Hit that red button or the black and white if you're on the new interface for YouTube. It's free. All you got to do is subscribe. Get to the Falcons. It is a small sample size, but their magic number of 24. Allow me to explain when we arrived at that number. The Falcons are averaging 23.5 points per game this season. Not bad, not elite, but good enough. The Commanders' defense, though, is quite good. They're relative to their offense not being very good. They're allowing only 20.3 points per game. Now, their offense is averaging only 19.5 points per game. That's below average. So again, if you can get to that 24 number and exceed your own offensive average, and the Commanders probably aren't going to score 24 points, you probably get that win. Now, it would have been tight for you in terms of the outcome against the Bears. They had 24 points for you. You lost allowing 25 points against the Carolina Panthers, some self-inflicted wounds there. If you can allow that type of 24-21 win, they can come out on top. I think 24-21 actually is a pretty damn good score prediction. But what do you guys think? Head down to the comments section and predict the score for me. The Falcons against the Commanders, let me know in the comments. Number 4, win the turnover battle. Always a classic key to the game, but it makes sense, right? There is no Carson Wentz playing, so the turnover-prone machine will not be out there today. The Commanders have actually been exactly even this year in the turnover battle, 0. That's by definition the middle of the pack, folks. The Falcons, meanwhile, are -1. That's been a problem for them at times this year, especially in some games where things got a wee bit out of hand. But Taylor Heineke will make mistakes. He will make turnover-worthy throws where it's a bad throw, and you've got to capitalize on them. If you win the turnover battle, I bet you the Falcons come out on top on Sunday against a very winnable, and I would argue, bit of a must-win game for the Falcons and their playoff chances. It's Commanders, Steelers, Saints. Their next 3 games, then Ravens, Cardinals, Bucks. They can still make the postseason. Now, this, of course, comes before or after Thanksgiving, filming it before Thanksgiving, naturally. What is your favorite Thanksgiving food? Our final fun question here before we go today. Let me know in the comments section what your go-to Thanksgiving food is. Mine, personally, mashed potatoes, but I want to hear from you guys, and then pumpkin pie in the comments section.